Well, hello again. This is the 61st daily update, and I think a bunch of updates from yesterday. Um, First is what actually happened yesterday. So I think yesterday, if you look at just the facts of what happened, it was a very good day, very productive day. I did my full exercise regimen. So that included doing some stretches, then going on a run, 3 mile run. And then after I came back, I went straight to the gym and I did some even weightlifting. I did like pull exercises. So I did um, two different types of exercises and did, 3 sets of 8 reps of each. And then I got back home and did my morning routine. Then I had some clothes. I don't know if I actually mentioned that, but from the last week, I did the laundry over the weekend as per the schedule. But that laundry batch, there were issues. Our laundry machine and our dryer are not great. And so the dryer was essentially occupied, like unavailable all night long. So my clothes remained wet in the washer machine that whole night. And I wasn't able to start drying them till the next morning. And so, as you might expect, they essentially I think there's like bacteria and stuff that it lives in clothes if you leave them wet for in a damp place for a long time. So the clothes smelled pretty bad, and so I've been since yesterday and today. I'm kind of taking out the clothes from that batch and putting them again in the washer. But the issue is that the drying process, the washer is not great and the dryer is not great either. So it usually takes like 3 cycles in the dryer to dry the clothes. 3 cycles, about an hour and a half each. So it takes 4.5 hours of continuous drying to dry the clothes. And that's like small batch. Like if I was doing a big batch, I might need to do it literally the whole day just in the dryer, nonstop. Um, so yeah, so I was doing the drying yesterday while doing some work at home, and I actually was productive. I did a few sessions at home. Then I was done with the batch. I went um to the library where I usually work, and I did some work there as well. And I finished my hour and 45 minutes. But I was also stressed because I had the meeting that day. My group meetings are at 4 p.m. And so I was kind of dreading that, which is like I wasn't giving the meeting, but for some reason I'm just like stressed um by like the meeting, like the idea of attending group meeting. I'm not like the meeting for my research group. I'm not sure why. Um, that's a whole other story. But anyway, so I was stressed about that, and but I did my hour and 45 minutes, and then I went to that meeting, and it went okay. But of course, I have to dwell on the bad side of the meeting, whatever. But it dragged on for a while, so it was 2 hours long. And then afterwards, I walked with like a lab mate, and we talked the whole way there. And then we reached his house, and ended up socializing for a little bit with the people there. But I just like I felt really bad about all of it at the end. Like when I got home, I was like tired but also upset at like how I was acting during the uh, meeting, and then afterwards walking with the kid, then afterwards, and socializing. I felt like I came off as awkward, and I just like the whole thing was I didn't like it at all. And so I was in a pretty dark frame of mind, and I was also like just simply exhausted. These social things, like they drain me like crazy. Um, and then there was also the stress element all day, like thinking about the meeting and stuff, and then the unexpected social events right afterwards. And so I was completely beat. I could hardly, form a thought. Um, and yeah, and so that was pretty much it for that day. So it's like I did in reality, I did a great job. Like I got through a pretty tough day, um, where there were a lot of, interruptions to my usual routine and stuff. But I was able to continue with my schedule despite everything and accomplish a lot. So I cleaned the laundry, and not only cleaned the laundry, I actually did a few other things as well, a few other chores. I did the hour 45 minutes of work and figured out the partial density of states, some calculation I was doing for the paper. Got good results for those. And so like I did a lot of good things. I exercised for the first time weightlifting, and I experimented with like different things, to go weightlifting, to like different types of foods, ways to get protein, move around my schedule to optimize it a little bit. So I did a lot of work, but I ended the day kind of not feeling great. So I think a few takeaways. I think the main thing was I pushed myself too much that day. Um, I think I'm trying to think back and uh, dwell on where I sort of misstepped, where I pushed myself too much. And then on top of all of that, I should mention yesterday, I was running on low sleep because I woke up at like 3 in the morning and I didn't want to go back to bed. I just wanted to force myself to sort of stay up. And it actually ended up kind of working because today I woke up at 6 in the morning. I did wake up at 3 as well, but I tried going back to sleep and I went back to sleep almost immediately afterwards, and then I finally actually woke up at 6. So it did work, but also yesterday. So on top of all of that, I was also like physically tired and wanted to sleep. So I think what happened was I just pushed myself too hard. And then I think the social event at the very end of the day, that also I should have shielded myself from that because I know that I'm really tired, and um, and I should have realized that, and like kept myself from having to go through that when I was like vulnerable and I didn't really have the energy for it. So I think that's an important thing to know. And that was unnecessary. I think you can make an argument that all the rest of the stuff that I had to do that day, it's sort of I had to do them. Um, but that social event at the end, that was probably too much. Um, so yeah. Um, so that was yesterday. Now I was just today I was, thinking about things as well. And I do think as a general principle, I want to, for the next 6 weeks or so, 6 to 7 weeks, I want to focus exclusively on um, increasing the amount of work that I'm doing week on week, and on um, the exercise side. So the physical conditioning, building up to an exercise regimen that I can, be comfortable with, and that will uh, um, sort of help me hit my sort of health goals, I guess. So, I think those are the things I really want to focus on. And I think uh, on the social side, I will continue with all the habits that I have in place. But I will go, I think my policy for right now will be to minimize all social interactions that are stressful as much as possible. So I think especially during that key period for the next 6, 7 weeks, like there will be a lot of changes um, in terms of work, which is a big deal for me, because it's something I historically have struggled a ton with, and I'm finally making some progress. But as we keep moving forward, it will be more and more stressful because, we're not holding some steady level. We're constantly increasing slowly the amount of work that I'm doing. So there's definitely going to be stress associated with that, and associated with, and then what I'm actually doing during that time, I'm working on the paper, and that requires emailing people and getting their feedback, and then I'm also have to give presentations and deal with people and stuff. So, and meet deadlines, and So there is a lot of stress there. Not to mention, like after the paper's done, there's going to be like thinking about job, and maybe applying to other places. And so there's just so much stress associated with that. And then if you think on the exercise side, also, I mean, I'm at the point at this moment, I'm like increasing the amount of running that I'm doing week on week. So you are having more running every week. And so you're increasing the amount of effort and the amount of time you're dedicating to your runs. And then also I'm starting this thing with like weightlifting, and so that's a whole thing. And then you need to increase the amount of food that you're eating, and vary your diet so that you're effectively like maintaining your weight, for increasing the amount of calories so that you're maintaining your weight. But also, if you want to actually go further and actually start building mass, then you have to account for that as well. And so there's like a lot of also problems, complications, difficulties, areas to grow, for on the exercise side as well. So I think just with those two things, like I already have enough on my plate. So I think at the moment, minimizing social interactions that are stressful is very important. So I can actually focus on those things. And I think if I'm trying to advance in both of those domains, I'll always have something to do. Like I won't be stagnant or bored. I'll always have something to do. And I think the plans I have right now are reasonable. Like I do think that they are doable for me. So, and they're relatively actually well defined, as opposed to on the social skills side. So, yeah, so that's essentially the plan for the next 7 weeks. So if I do make it through that period, I'll be up to almost 3.5 hours of work a day, which I think is more than enough to catch up and even be slightly above average in terms of the amount of deep work that you're doing every day. And in the same time, you're also on the physical side, I'll be up to my 6 mile mark for the amount of running that I want to do daily. So my sort of workout routine, exercise routine will kind of finally reach a plateau, will reach a steady state phase, So, and then at that point, we can reevaluate and think about what our priorities are then. But I think for the next 7 weeks, say, we have to hold off on that. But yeah, so that's pretty much the update. Sorry, that was a very long update. But it's good we get to lay out the plans moving forward. And I think it also kind of that takes a load off my mind, to know that that's the plan. So we have to proceed, and again, proceed carefully and slowly. And if we need to take a break, we'll take a break. But the most important thing is that we don't fall backwards, and that we work with myself, not against myself. Because after all, it's all about being better and being happy. And so if you're miserable, then that's not good. So actually, a big part of it is making sure that you are taking care of yourself in terms of your happiness, your stress levels, managing that with the plan. So you do the things that you have to do, but also you are making sure that you are stable through that process. So that's the balancing act. All right, well, that's it for today. Thanks for being with me through the process. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you guys again tomorrow.